Oh, and here we are. Oh my God. Counting down. That was a 0, by the way, and not something else.
We're waiting for the live, right? And I'm like, 5, 4, 3.
But then I'm watching you and you're like,
That's always this. That's like, oh, we're live. No, PG, Jen. Keep it PG.
right. That was a 0. That's Jen's
Like,
0.
yes, 0 stars, do not recommend. That's what it really was.
Maybe if you had stuck to this, then it wouldn't have been so bad.
No. Remember when you were in high school and you did this, and when people look, you'd be like, you gotcha. Remember that as a kid? We had this thing where if you did this and people looked, you got to punch them. I grew up in Southeast Missouri. We were thugs.
I was just going to say something to that effect because I have never heard that.
Like of the Ozarks.
Or is it the Ozarks? Now I don't know.
Oh, we kind of bass backwards in the Southeast Missouri.
and I can't even do that because I have like weird fingers. Look at my distorted.
They're AI fingers.
That's a weird. Look at
That's
this.
because they're AI. You don't exist. You took the red pill, didn't you?
It's not me. It ain't me. That's not my name.
That's not my name.
That's not me.
And be careful taking the red pill because blue pill people might get offended. But wait a minute, isn't it backwards? Isn't the blue pill the one that gets you out of the matrix?
I take pills every day. They're all different colors. I don't know. I just like to wing it. No,
purple pills and some yellow bombers. And we get lovely blue pill.
I wake up in the morning and I'm like,
anybody that's watching, please don't compare us to Adolf Hitler because I'm raising my fist against taking pills. We're just kidding. It's a joke.
And that's beautiful segue into our topic for today. We are talking about opinions and
delicate topics.
And
delicate topics.
How comfortable are we expressing our opinion or not expressing our opinions because of what we are afraid people are going to say or do about it? Because that's me, if I'm honest. And not that I'm afraid, because it's actually not fear. It's more of I don't even have the energy or the interest
for that,
right? To engage with certain people. So
you're not going to get my attention, and you're certainly not going to get my intention. 100%.
Right. But this is something Jen and I have been talking about more and more, and so we were like, this has got to be our next topic because there's too much of it happening out there where, gosh forbid, you express an idea or a thought or an opinion and it's not what everyone else wants to hear or is in line with what their opinion is.
Yeah, what their post is or what their idea is or, whatever that is. And it's not just been coming up once, it's been coming up a lot. I got a great examples of this.
So many examples. And I notice it a lot. Like people post a lot of controversial things, right? And then if you look at the comments, you'll just see what kind of arguments and disagreements and nasty things people say to each other. What happens
in the horse world?
In the horse world, any avenue, honestly, because the comment I made the other day.
I want to hear their story, but remind me to tell your story about what you think about horse people, and you've been in banking. Like, what was your comment? I want to stay on. I want to hear. Go ahead.
What was my comment? What did I just say?
You said you were looking at a comment the other day and.
Oh, well, right. I commented on something I saw on Instagram and someone commented back. I have this thing. I clear my throat a lot. All right.
If you don't like, well, this is important that we hear what you're about to say.
Yes.
This is the.
No.
Doctor.
So I commented on something. It was silly. It was just one of those. It was like a video clip about something that and everyone was putting their opinions about it. And normally I don't, because again, I don't really have the energy or the need to want to engage or express my opinion.
Desire. Right. Exactly.
But
Normally I don't either. I don't.
you know what I mean?
normally-
Which is good, because that has taken years for me to get out of this energy field of where people needed to hear my opinion, and my opinion was so important. And yes, sometimes that there is the space for that, where you have something to say and you want to say it. Yes. But I was doing it in the past too much. And it was like,
Yes.
and I would argue my opinion because I was so in my ego, and I felt I needed to argue my opinion, but I don't do that anymore. And thank goodness, because I saved
What a
so
waste
much
of time.
energy. Yeah, save time, save energy, because it's like that saying, choose your battles, right? It's not always necessary. But so this day I decided I was going to comment on something, and someone replied to my comment and was like, in a very nasty way, basically said, nobody cares about your opinion. And I actually laughed and found it comical, because I was like, do you think anyone cares about yours? Like, I mean, honestly.
And then everybody has one, right?
And
Nobody's, only dogs going around checking out each other's assholes, because they're just like opinions, right? And that's the truth. Okay,
they all smell. They're just like opinions. They all smell.
They all smell like shit, right? We all got shitty opinions, and it's true. Like, let's face it. Come on, right? Let's face it. It's like, my opinion, your opinion. Now we go, well, it's based in science. Okay, great. But don't we disprove scientific theory every day?
Oh my gosh. And what happened to just having a healthy debate? This is my thing. Like what happened to just respecting each other's opinions? Sure, we can have a debate about it, but like in a nice way. Why does it have to?
We don't have to go cross our arms and go, well, let's just agree to disagree.
Right. Or block people, or stop talking to people, or delete them, or whatever it is.
Or even, stop supporting like a good deal. And I don't want to get into this too deeply, because I respect this woman, even though we have different opinions. I mean, I had a different opinion about something, and like the reaction was like extreme, like stop, like delete, block, next. And I don't disagree with that to a certain degree, but at the same time, it's like you said, what happened to just like a disagree? I disagree with a lot of people. I disagree with you. You disagree with me. But that's what creates a little bit of spark to have a conversation that can hopefully not turn into a World War III type bonfire, but one that we can warm our hands at together and go, that's something to think about. Not that I don't got to internalize it and adopt it and agree with it and tattoo it on my chest, but I can say, hey, you know what, I'll consider that. And the Miguel Ruiz, right? The fifth agreement. I don't like his word skeptical. I'll be skeptical, but listen. So see, I can even disagree and still promote, promote the theory behind it. I think just be discerning, but listen might be a better way to describe it, which is kind of ironic because one of his 4 agreements is be impeccable with your word. Because I think skeptical has a negative connotation about it. But guess what? That's just my opinion. You guys are just joining us. Go back to the first
sorry. I can't take this seriously. My opinion.
And I wish people would take people less seriously. I mean, of course.
But it's so true. It's so true, because look, there's always, I like that you said, listen, if someone wants to block or be unfriend or whatever it is, that's fine. If someone is going against your value system and maybe you feel threatened or unsafe or whatever it is, of course, you got to protect yourself. But I think
don't make that my shit, and don't put your shit on me. Please do not say, and this is where, you get hit by fire. Because you just say, you mislabeled me.
Oh.
So I'm not going to say, because am I blonde? I don't know. But I'm not going to be offended if you mislabel me and call me a brunette.
Yeah. And listen,
we're all brunettes.
And this is
all brunettes, ladies.
This is something I think we were talking about this morning too. And what I feel strongly about in this regard is this feeling that and this is my opinion and my perception, absolutely, but I do feel strongly that so many people are giving their power away based on this concept of what others think of them, and trying to force people to view you a certain way it's wasted energy, it's wasted time. Don't care so much about what people think
Perfect.
about you. That's fine.
I think
And
we should address Megan Stewart's comment at this
oh
time.
yes,
That's perfect. Can you see that comment, by the way?
I do. I see it, but I don't really understand it because I don't know about what big EQ is, and I know competing with the horses,
Big
but yeah.
question. Yeah. So how about the opinion that junior riders competing in the big equestrian, I guess I'm not in the competitive world either,
Yeah.
competitively for scholarship hopes is unnecessarily driving up the cost / expenses of the industry and making it inaccessible for most. I'm going to need a little bit more information to be able to address this with with the spirit in which it's asked, but this is a really great, a perfect example of an opinion that is being expressed by somebody that disagrees with it. And so she's presenting a challenge or a problem about the cost and expenses of the industry rising unnecessarily by, and so this would be
And
a
this is
debate.
and this is interesting too, because to me, not knowing much about this industry at all, this just looks like an economic thing that happens all the time. Because think about any industry. This is like demand drives cost. So that is just an economic thing. It's not even necessarily.
And this is a conversation more about resources and versus resourcefulness and abundance versus scarcity over the desire for more regulations to make something for like scholarships accessible for more people. Now, I got a scholarship. I probably should look this woman up. I got $1,000 scholarship.
Wait, she said more people being forced to buy $250,000 minimum horse to be successful. You have to ask, do they need the scholarship?
Oh my God. I love this. Megan, thank you so much. In fact, I want to know more about this because no one on this planet, are you going the same way I'm going, sister? Is ever forced to buy a $250,000 horse to be successful. No one has a gun to their head saying, give me liberty or give me death. Right. And it shows up in the form of a $250,000 horse. But I want to know, and I'm coming to you purely with innocence, curiosity, and a desire to have a solution to the problem. So,
and I love that because there's,
yes, I have a desire, like we're here with curiosity.
Yeah. Especially because for me too, Megan, I don't know, Jen knows a lot more than I do in the horse industry. Yeah, so I'm even more of an ignorant person in this regard. But what immediately, like just from the information she's giving, it's so funny too, right? Because we can still have an opinion with this much information or this much information or this, we still have our opinions, right? So it's so interesting because you have to ask, do they need the scholarship? I don't know, because how much is the scholarship? And then now the way my mind works, hello, open stage door left to over analytical thoughts. Here 100%. We go. Right? Because why does the horse have to be $250,000? Why are we discarding horses that maybe don't cost that much? Why does it need to be that?
And what is the successful and what does successful look like? Right. What is their drive? Why?
Megan's gonna love us or hate us right now because Megan's gonna love us or hate us because we're dissecting this. But this
because we want to find an answer to what is the real issue here. Is it having to buy a $250,000 horse? Or is it that this person has a desire to be around horses or involved in the horse community? Because this is what brings up for me is because when you ask somebody when they're a little kid, like say my dad did build me a barn, my and all his flaws and all the shit that, you know, I look back at my father and say, that guy was just fucking confused when he met me, you know, because he was just trying his damn best to figure it out. And he built me this beautiful barn. And I can't believe I'm going to admit this publicly on Facebook as the first thing, because I'm going to absolutely fucking cry. See the clearing of the throat. Here it is.
I'm always doing it. I also Googled what
Yes,
is the
so
PPQ.
yes, exactly. Thank you. And Megan, obviously you have a shit ton of knowledge. Obviously you are an expert in your field. And you know what? No matter what your side of the story is, there's two sides, no matter the size. So anyway, so my dad built me a barn, and he did it. My dad is a chemical engineer. And so he built it to fit my model briars to scale, right? And the roof came off. And you know what? He made the shingles. He made the shingles out of the back, out of notepads, you know, like remember, like yellow notepads, legal pads. He took the cardboard off the back of those legal pads and cut them into 3/4 inch strips. And every so often, cut them up to make them look like shingles, and then offset them to where as he glued them onto the top of the roof of this barn, and then spray painted them green, right? And I know this, and I'm admitting this because I had an opinion about this during a time where I was very angry in my life, and like really angry as a young woman. And he built me this barn when I was a kid, instead of a dollhouse, and it had 6 stalls and it had the barn doors, and he made the hinges, I mean, intricate. And I played with that barn for years. I kept it. When I moved to Florida, it had gotten damaged in the move. And I could sit here and blame my ex-husband for damaging in the move because he did not pack the truck the way that I would have packed the truck. So it got down to Florida and the barn was damaged. And I was so mad at my dad because he wouldn't let me come to Florida with my mom. I wanted to have that experience with my mom. I don't have a lot of mother-daughter experiences because my dad's a very dominant individual. And because, whatever you follow the word because with it, is a story as to why you don't have, right? But I don't have a great relationship with my mom. The relationship I wish I had with my mom. Because of my dad's opinion about how everything should be. So I was very angry at my father. And I sound like Richard Gere from Pretty Woman. I say, I'm very angry. It cost me $40,000. Angry with my father.
We're angry with him. I'm very angry with him.
Bathtub with Julia Roberts and listening to her and shit. So here I am, right? So here we are, right? And
is there any way we could get Megan on here with us?
I would love to. Megan, if you are able and willing, I don't know how to invite you. I can try and figure that out. But let me finish the story is I was angry at dad. He built me this beautiful barn. It got damaged in the move. And I was angry at I'm angry at my husband because he fucked up. I'm angry at my dad because he made himself that I'm angry. And so I threw the barn away. And I remember putting the barn into the dumpster and watching it get crushed. And it was like, and I look back now at, here you go, guys. Here is why you got to be very careful making decisions based on emotions that are controlling you instead of you observing them and having opinions from a centered space, because and making permanent decisions on an emotion, based on an emotion. So Megan, I don't know if you are still watching or not, but let me see if there is a way I can invite you.
I was just responding. I was just sending a comment to her too, if she's still watching and wants to join us, because I just did a quick Google search, because this is a great way to talk about. We're talking about the big EQ is a metal class.
Yes.
Metal classes are the bigger, more challenging version of equitation classes with separate phases and testing. They're called metal classes because when they began in the 30s, riders were awarded actual medals. Even though now it's down to big ribbons, the name has stuck around.
Right. Okay. So, all right, I'm going to post this, and I don't have to accept you. So I'm going to post this in the comments. Megan, if you're still watching, you can. Oh, it's coming up on YouTube only. Crap. I can't post comments to some.
I would love to schedule something with you in the future. I don't have the time today, but in the future.
And Megan, thank you for showing up. This is exactly what we're talking about. We should be able to, and we should be able to talk about difficult topics. We should be able to talk about things that are inflammatory without, and I follow this page on Instagram that kind of doesn't do that in a way. And I'm like, yeah, what they said, down with the man, but I think that if we took a softer approach, instead of doing that, and I learned so much, it hurt when my friend booted me and said she couldn't be my friend anymore because I disagreed with certain things, okay. But
and the other side of that too, not to interrupt you, but not to interrupt you, but I'm gonna interrupt you because I have an opinion about this.
We need a conversation, Feather.
I have an opinion about this, and I need to interrupt you to give it. No.
Here's the feather. Don't hurt me. Right?
But see, you can have fun giving opinions. It doesn't have to be. Jen and I don't always agree on everything.
Everything. I must say, thank God, how beige would that be? And Megan, by the way, we go live every Friday during the 1 o'clock hour. I was a little late today. I live in Wellington, and there's a lot of traffic with horses. So when around the 1 o'clock hour, we usually are pretty much on time. So thank you.
But what I was gonna say too is that there's so many facets to this as well, right? It's not only two factors of this equation. There are multiple factors because there is a lot going on, right?
Yes.
But because if someone is going to cut you out for having an opinion, then maybe that person's not meant to be in your life. And so, okay, fine, right? Okay, fine. And so the other side of it is that we also have to accept that too. And so there's different shades of this color, right? Like there's so much, because is it just that the opinion, someone is being too sensitive, or
did I do that? I sounded like Urkel just then.
Did I do that?
But you're right, and I think what happens is that we get so caught up in, and because I got to thinking about this too, and I was like, what if? And I got a real nasty case of the what ifs. Well, what if this? What if that? And then but then I had to flip the script and say, well, what is their perspective? And this is where the rubber meets the pavement, guys. When you can get curious, like Danielle and I had this beautiful conversation earlier. She's like, I'm like, how interesting. And I'm so curious. Like, I'm curious. So stay curious, you guys. I mean, what is it? Steve Jobs says, stay a little weird. That's Tony Hsieh. Tony says stay a little weird. And it is weird to be curious about things that inflame us when we're over the age of 35, because by the time we're 35, we're hardwired genetically. We're hardwired for our expressions. But when you get past that point, you have to take a conscious approach to staying curious and staying young-minded, having that neuroplasticity that's more like Elastigirl than like
And I love that you said that too, because that goes back to, if anyone has not read The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, that is really a life-changing, mind-altering book. Especially if you read it with an open mind and and an open heart and understanding all the concepts he talks about, because
so good. The definitions.
To what you just said about understanding where they're coming from, because that goes to the agreement of not taking anything personal, because it may feel personal in the moment, right? But realistically, in the grander scheme of things, it's never personal. It's this
What you
person.
just said helped me move right past the hurt that I had from her response.
Right.
Now, holy cow. Oh, the 4 agreements. Can you, I don't know.
I'll do it. Yeah.
It's called the 4 agreements. And they are, always do your best, do your best to do your best. Always do your best. Be impeccable with your word. Don't make or teach assumptions. I say and teach, because in horse world, if you allow the horse to do the wrong thing, you're teaching him to assume that it's the right thing. So don't teach assumptions. And then don't take things personally.
Right.
The 5th agreement he wrote is be skeptical, but listen. And it is, the name of the book is called The 4 Agreements. And I did not know that I'm thank you for reminding me. I'm struggling to recall our conversation about starting a 501c3, but Megan, thank you for reminding me. I would love to continue that conversation. And if anybody else that's listening, I hope that you can really relate to these sort of things, because I'll tell you something, when you get out with the horses, they don't care. They don't care.
Yeah. That's true.
And when you get around something that is authentic and tells you the truth and shows up as a pure mirror for your own self, when you can say that, then you can go, all this crap. What do they say? Don't sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff. Yo, that's the freaking truth.
But just think about when these agreements, it's funny that this is where it's leading us, but I love it because it is one of my most favorite books that I recommend, honestly, probably on a very frequent basis, because if you can achieve these 4 agreements, and by the way, they're agreements with yourself. I agree to not take things personal. I agree to not make assumptions. I agree to be impeccable with my word, and I agree to do my best all the time. Right. These agreements are with yourself. They're with nobody else. And when you do that, oh my gosh, think about how much easier life is when we don't make it all about us all the time. Oh my gosh, she never called me back. Did I do something wrong? Does she not like me? What did I do? Why isn't she calling me back? I don't even understand. I mean, I didn't do anything. And then we create these stories behind it.
1,000,000%.
When it's never
a lot of times things, and this is the thing too, guys. This is where this is it. This is the most important thing we're going to tell you all day, right here. Are you ready? You can sit there and type, and we know that the armchair quarterbacks and the trolls and all that stuff, but there are things, even people that know each other, like whatever, that you will type, or you will text, or you will email, or you will send off to cyberspace, that creates this buffer, because there is no way in hell you would say that to someone's face. To say that to someone's face, kudos to you, because that comes from a more authentic space. It's very hard to say some of the things that you would say to someone's face that you just zoop.
I know.
That you would say this, you wouldn't do it. You just wouldn't do it. And that's why I feel like authenticity, when they say it's a higher vibration emotion than even love or gratitude, is absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
And your authentic truth will show what your belief systems are, show what your level of consciousness is, and show what your value system is. And when you're authentic, you are vulnerable. People can eviscerate you unless you know yourself, like yourself, and be yourself.
I love yourself.
My dad wrote those exact words in a book called Your Perfect Right, published in 1971. He gave that to me as a 9-year-old. And it's interesting that I'm talking about my father this way. Yeah, there's a quiz. I still have the book. I've moved like 800,000 times, and that's a lot. I've moved 16. That's less than 800. But I've moved a lot as an adult, and I've kept that book with me. And I have, kind of elevated a little bit. It's that I learned that know yourself, love yourself, and believe in yourself.
It will change your life.
It will change your life. Exactly. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think this is a great way to sign off, because knowing those things and loving yourself will put you in a space where you don't feel like you need to judge or exclude other people at certain levels.
No, because at the end of the day, and this is also from that book, it doesn't matter. What is it? So what? Who cares? It doesn't matter.
So what? Who cares? And I look back at that and like at my actions, because they were comparing a political figure to Hitler. And I was like, well, that's kind of inflammatory. And that's just my opinion. Like, well, I'm appalled that you're not appalled by this political figure. And my person that said that is probably watching. So if that's the case, I would say I don't have a dog in the fight when it comes to that. And I'm not turning a blind eye to it. I'm just choosing to put my energies in a space that is more aligned with my purpose.
And there's a reason why it's a known thing that people say not to discuss politics, because it's a touchy subject for a lot of people in a lot of ways. So,
and I think as you elevate your level of consciousness and your level of graciousness, you can be a little more, have that Audrey Hepburn elegance and class, and the elegance and class that Mother Teresa had, and have love for all humanity and non-judgment for all humanity. And when you say, I have an opinion, just know it's that. And it probably stinks just like your butthole.
All right. That said, I think we're
that's a good ending to this shitty discussion. Oh, just kidding.
Well, we touch on some interesting subjects week to week. With the weather going to start getting better, hopefully we'll be out there.
Yes. Next week we have a good school. We will be out with horses next Friday for sure. I have a young lady staying with me, and we're going to be playing with horses. So we'll definitely either be at my barn outside or with Danielle. No, it's February. We'll be at my barn because I'm in Florida. Danielle is in New York. And if you want to come and see either one of us and have a life-changing experience horse, we would love to have you, because at Zynergen and at Artemis Hill, we believe that everyone deserves to have a life-changing experience with a horse that maintains the dignity of the animal and raises the level of consciousness for both individuals. So come and join us. We'd love to see you. Reach out if this spoke to you, and please reach out and connect. But no, so because yes, boop. That's hard to do. Try that. Boop. Boop. Okay. All right. Goodbye.